stay fly, stay fly.
We have more power than we think we have. We just got to aggregate our internal and immaterial ingenuity and spiritual capital.
It's like they want to put us on Front Street. They want to degrade us and bring us down. And
who's the pimp? Who got the attention? Who got people to show up? Who's the pimp in this situation? That would be my question. Who's really pimping? Who's running games?
You're listening to The Fly Guy Show. They do everything on the fly and in such a fly manner. Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.
The views expressed by the guests are only the views of the guests, unless we say we agree, unless explicitly stated.
Hey, this is Ernie Thomas here on the Bold School Podcast. You're listening to Psycho Vonner's Fly Guy Podcast. Support, like, subscribe, and share. He's saying some good things. Share it. Don't keep it to yourself.
All right, and we're live. It's time for another great episode of Get On Code, Fly Guy Show. Get On Code, the Fly Guy Show. Well, we have a great series of conversations about things that deal with melanated people and our particular situations. So we have a really great panel today with us. We're going to have a lot of great fun. We're dealing with the concept of booty to the polls. And secondarily, we're going to be dealing with it's bigger than hip-hop. It's bigger than hip-hop, as Dead Prez used to say, or most famously said. So I want to give a little quick disclaimer. So we're not talking about a crayon color. We're not talking about hair texture. We're not talking about a city, a state, a country, a national origin. We're not talking about legal status when we use the term black. All right? We're not, and if we use the term African American, we're simply saying an American citizen of some level, not necessarily entirely of African descent. So I know we're going to have some of the people who tap in and say, you ain't a crayon color. We know that. We're not silly. All right, up on the platform for the first time is the Mamba Titi. I said it right this time. The Mamba Titi. What's up, Queen DeLorean? I mean, let's go. You know what? I love this girl, y'all. So I'm going to say some really saluting things about her. But the Mamba Titi, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, tell us a bit about your name, and let's go there.
Sure. So, hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to be a part of these transformative conversations. My name is DeLorean Olivia Davis, but I'm also known as the Mamba Titi, or people more personally call me D-Lo. Just depends on where you know me from. I'm a queer, Black entrepreneur, scholar, and performer. I majored in Africana Studies at William & Mary, and I have since gotten my Master's of Education in Human Development and College Student Affairs Administration from UGA. So I'm always having these conversations, always like to be a part of them. I'm really big on diversity as a strength and putting our different perspectives together as a strength, and not something that tears us or divides us. So I'm interested to see where the conversation is going to go today, and to also add my 2 cents.
All right, that's what's up. And next, look, we got the most important couple in the room, the power couple. We have King and Queen, Queen and King Phoenix. I had to juxtapose it to make sure everybody got equal standing. I'm learning. So, QP, what's good? Tell us about your podcast.
Hey, yes, I am so glad to be here tonight. My podcast, we're all about flaming up, which is now just triggering that flame that's on the inside of you, that deep-rooted dream that's been there, that burning desire. We're all about igniting that fire within inside and getting you to flame up, to transform into the phoenix that you've always been called and meant to be. So tune in. My podcast is awesome. It's very good. It gives people inspiration and inspires you to really find out that inner power that's within you and help you unleash it.
All right. Hey, Brother King, you got anything you want to add to what your wife just said?
Hey, I just want to say I'm the business side of this. We, as you know, brother, we've been in business for over almost 15 years, helping people finance, getting them right, all that money, getting all the money tight. As we said last time, and I appreciate you, bro. We're going to get that black pack going, man. We're going to be getting that rolling. But hey, our business is there to help people in their business, both to get that going, finance, accounting, all that kind of good stuff. Also on the personal side, helping you build your wealth on your personal side, and been doing that for over 15 years. So look forward to helping you out in the future.
All right, good stuff. And coming back on the platform, I think this is his third time with us, is the good brother Bashiri. Bashiri, what's good, man? Say your words, bro. Say your piece. Give us your measure.
Hey, what's going on, family? Love you guys. I come to you in love, peace, and confrontation. It's the podcast dealing with everything and all things Black empowerment, economic liberation. And we just do it because we got passion for our people for no other reason. That's it.
All right, short and sweet. Good brother Bashiri. And as you can see here, he has a podcast. You can also catch him on Facebook, IG. You can catch him on Tweet. You know, he's definitely doing some things. And I'm your friend in financial freedom. If you're looking for credit repair, tax resolution, debt consolidation, or private money lending for real estate investors, give me a holler. That's how we pay for this platform, okay? All right, enough of the commercials. With one last sponsor, we want to shout out Tally and Twine. If you're looking for a high-quality watch, if you want a nice, high-quality watch, and it's owned by us. This is FUBU, for us, by us. Black owned, and Tally and Twine, high-quality watches. Check them out on tallyandtwine.com. This is on the heels of our groundbreaking work with studying Ice Cube's contract with Black America. You can find that on this channel. We also did a nice deep dive into Black Lives Matter, lack of political agenda. Once again, Black Lives Matter has political interests in the United States of America. They do not have a true political agenda. We do salute them for the things they're doing. Hip hop salute. We also want to salute ADOS 101. The ADOS 101 Black Agenda, I think is pretty impressive. Just for those who are unaware, ADOS, or American Descendants of Slaves, deal with those whose ancestors were enslaved in the United States of America, including African and Native Blacks who suffered American Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and the Civil Rights struggle. When we talk about ADOS, or Foundational Blacks, we're talking about lineage. We're not necessarily talking about if somebody's Black or not, you know. All right. We also dealt with Blyden's. I saw it Blyden's because it was blight. It was his lack or his ploy for Black Americans. That's one of our great videos. And last week we dealt with their ploys. We looked at Joe Biden's plan. We looked at Donald Trump's plan. And like King Queen Phoenix both said, we really need to deal with ourselves because they don't really bring anything to the table. All right. So check out our information on our YouTube channel right here, Our Black Improvement. And with that, let's get into Booty to the Polls. What's the real message of Booty to the Polls? Brother Bashiri, man. In our last conversation, you kind of ended by saying that they're trying to get us to the polls like hoes. Am I correct?
That is correct, my good friend.
All right, yes, so what did you think when you saw this, bro? What did you think when you saw this?
Let me just first say that I'm very exhausted and exasperated from the consistent ways these politicians and the likes thereof continue to play in our face. You know what I mean? And they try to appeal, and very condescendingly so, might I add. They try to appeal to these cultural cues in our community, and for whatever reason, we buy it. You know, we have been duped because who was it? Clinton played the saxophone, and his wife carries hot sauce in her purse. Biden has the lift every voice plan, right? Oh my God. More recently, Kamala Harris, she's rolling her eyes and popping her neck, and everybody's like, oh, did you see her? Give it to Pence. I'm like, yo, this is nothing. It doesn't mean anything in terms of the deconstruction of white supremacy and the liberation of the economic interests of Black people. It and we are bought and sold for emptiness. It's really nothing. You know what I mean? Black people are being bought and sold for holidays and neck popping and eye rolling and hot sauce and purses and booty to the poles. It's just another insult, right? And a barrage of insults to the collective intelligence of our community, man. And so now they're tapping into the strip culture, and they're using that to kind of be exploitative and wooing, I guess, members of our community to get to the polls. But I think what's indicative even of the imagery and the language is that they're telling you outright what they think of you. You're a hoe, and you can be bought, and we're going to encourage you to see yourself as such and get in there and pull on some levers and not really get anything substantive, not really get anything concrete, no tangibles, no deliverables, no real metrics, no real power. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of feel-goods, just a bunch of empty rhetoric. You know what I mean? A placebo kind of effect. No real panacea, no real healing, no real remedies for the problems that are pervasive in our communities. Just, somebody can relate to me culturally. And they're singing our song and it's a bop. You know what I mean? And it's a vibe. It's a vibe and we're not getting anything. You know what I mean? All we're getting is the rhythm. Yeah. Woo! If only rhythm could translate into something that would be economically relevant, but it doesn't. And I don't know if we've gotten that across the board yet. But I'm gonna stop there and let you know.
All right, good. Interesting. As you see on the page, getyourbootytothepoll.com. That's the website for the initiative. It's not just a video. It's actually, they have a Twitter page, they have an IG page, they have a Facebook page, and it's an initiative to get us to vote. King Phoenix, what are your thoughts on this, man? When you saw Get Your Booty to the Polls, what were your thoughts, bro?
Well, okay, so first thing, I saw this video, right? I'm like, what in the world? So first thing, you sent it to us, and I was like, okay. I thought it was a joke at first. I didn't know that was for real. And you just said it was like a whole movement behind it. So I was like, what? Wait. Hold on. So first thing, right? Basically, if you're looking at this, you have to say, who are they reaching out to, and why are they reaching out to this group? So I really going to be, to be honest, I'm not in that culture. I'm not going to the polls. I mean, to the strip clubs and just doing that. So my thing is this actually going out to that? And who's seeing this, and what is the whole purpose behind it? Now let's just think of it, for someone to come on and to say, hey, people who go to seeing this, I mean, and this is the ladies doing their thing on the polls and doing their, I mean, they're performing, right? And I'm like, what message is this, and why would you do it? I just was lost. I'll be honest. My first thing, I was just completely lost. I'm like, this is it's sad, actually. Parts of this is completely sad that you have to do this. Now, so I was in our conversation, we're gonna have to talk about who's behind this, right? Because as you play this, it's like, who's behind this particular video, and what's the message behind that? So I really, as we keep going, we're gonna have to talk about that. But I was shocked. I was shocked by it, and shocked that this is actually a movement, man. We could talk about some things though about this. I'm gonna play some devil advocate. I could come back around and say, hey, some of these people that's going to the poll, to that poll, are they participating in our struggle to get better, right, as our people? And maybe this is this something to actually take on another side and reach out to that. But that's a whole nother discussion, you know, as we talk. But yeah, that was crazy. I just being honest, that was crazy. I didn't believe it. I still don't believe it, really.
As I stated earlier, they have a IG page, they have a Facebook page, and they have a Twitter account. And if you go to getyourbootytothepoll.com, how do you get your booty to the poll? It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Register to vote, research, download a sample ballot, learn what's on it. And this happened in Atlanta. This happened in Georgia. So it wasn't just for, it's primarily in Georgia. But vote early. You can follow them online. And these are some of the IG pictures. They even had Judge Joe Brown in there. I thought that was intriguing. Some of these, you know, I'm on the Instagram page now. So yeah, so Gabby, this is real. This is real. Last day to register to vote is October 5th, and that was in, I can't tell you which state that was. Oh, okay, that was in Ohio and Iowa. So early voting. This is their IG page. This is a real initiative. Of course, one of my favorite topics, qualified immunity. And the videos are actually, yeah, I did watch them all. I did watch them all. So, Queen Phoenix, what are your thoughts? Booty to the
My thoughts as soon as I saw it is that our community has accepted the fact that America constantly pimp us out. And you are accepting the fact that America is our pimp. And when are we going to get sick and tired of it? That was my first thought. Every time it comes down to our community, they relate it somehow or another, especially for our African-American queens. It's like they want to put us on Front Street. They want to degrade us and bring us down and feel like that's the way to get the attention of our community. When is it going to get to the point that they stop exploiting us African-American women, and when are our brothers going to stop accepting it? I mean, that was even the main thing when it came down to slavery. At one point in time, they only took men, but then they saw how valuable the African-American women was when they started bringing us over, because they said, hey, they can make more of property, because that's what they looked at us as, and they started pimping us out. And it's like anytime that something happens to the African American woman, that's where our kings come from, our womb, is like it causes the women to fight more for us. So it's like we're constantly fighting. We're fighting for our kings when they degrade you guys and put you guys down. Then we have to fight for ourselves, and we're still fighting for our children. So the question is, who is going to now step in and start standing up and fighting for the African American sisters? Because we're fighting for everybody else. I always tell people, I said, maybe that's just the blood that's in the African-American queens, that we are warriors. Because no matter what, you're going to see us somewhere on the front line fighting for somebody. And it's to the point that we need to now find someone who's going to step up and fight for us and say enough is enough on exploiting our queens and thinking that that's what's going to get the attention of our community to get us to now go out here and vote for a bunch of mess. We're sick and tired of being pimped out. Stop pimping us out.
Sick and tired of getting pimped out. And so is this pimping when they're saying, hey, we want you to vote so much that we teamed up with local filmmakers to help get our message out to you? We had a good brother who tapped in and stated that it's not for everyone. It's focusing on a certain crowd, the crowd that is not being reached by, the type of work that we're doing. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Delorne?
So just so I'm clear, this was made by the actual women in the video?
Yeah, girl power. These a group of people came together, and if you go through the information on the website, it kind of gives you more details. I know it helps you get registered to vote. It takes 2 minutes. Let's see. Meet the dancers. You got a chance to meet the dancers. Very attractive women. I'll put it that way. And so, in the middle of the pandemic, they go into their story right here. So this is a real deal. This was real deal. Yes. Right. To answer your question.
I just want to make sure they're not officially associated with one of the presidential campaigns. Because that's kind of like, I guess, I think I started to feel like I was understanding that from some of the earlier responses. But now that we made that distinction, my thoughts on it are, especially following WAP by Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, which has been a cultural phenomenon. What about this isn't female and Black resistance, authenticity, and ownership? That's where I'm at. I think that it's easy to say that other people can control the Black woman's narrative, but I think this is a very raw piece of Black women controlling their own narrative. If they are Atlanta strippers and this is what they do for a living, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they're reaching out to their audience or to a certain audience that this appeals to, then I'm not going to look down on that as another Black woman. I think also it's difficult for us as Black Americans, African Americans, whatever you identify as, people of the diaspora, to unlearn very white and Western structures. And I'm trying my best not to look at this as such. I thought it was a very creative way to reach out to people, especially a younger generation, especially a generation that is used to having autonomy at a very young age and experiencing being their authentic self. So that's really where I'm at. I don't think it's anybody else's business to say what a Black woman should be doing with her body. If this is how somebody wants to protest and resist the system and get people out to participate, then what's wrong with that? That's where I'm at. I think people can have a lot of assumptions about what it is they're doing, but I think that's all coded with bias.
Interesting. So, based on what you're just saying, D-Lo, these were participants who decided this is what they wanted to do, and they weren't being pimped. They were actually making choices. Is that what I'm getting from you? That we may be looking at it from a pimp and hoe because...
Who's the pimp? Who got the attention? Who got people to show up? Who's the pimp in this situation? That would be my question. Who's really pimping? Who's running game? Is it them? Was that the goal?
Can I say something right here, right? I was saying I was going to come up a little bit of a devil advocate of that, Sicko, was that this approach is approaching people kind of like what that brother said, a group of people who that normally is not involved with the process. Now, right, this is a group of people who are probably not normally voting. They're going to a different poll than we're talking about normally, right? So this is the thing, right? If you want to reach that group of people, if you reach, well, I mean, that's the assumption why they're doing this particular video. I mean, if they were already at the polls of what we're talking about, you want to do this particular video. You're reaching for people who is not normally at that poll, right? That you're reaching for people to vote, to register for vote. So if they not, because this is the only way they're going to get that message. I mean, I'm being completely looking at them as the strippers. If they did it, and the strippers did it, and nobody else did it, they say, hey, we're going to come together to get people to sign up. And they're not advocating for any political party. They're going for a group of people who are not normally voting. And let's be honest, there's a large part of our population that they're focused on entertainment and they're not focused on, things like voting or politics and so on. And that's with any group. So that's how I look at it. So if they're doing that, it is their concept Why got rolling on there? Anyway, that's their concept of doing that. I have to say there's some validation to that, to reach out to a group of people who never get reached out to for politics. I might disagree with it per se, right? But I mean, I'm saying there's some validation to that. There's some things that can be honorable that you could say that. Now, Seiko, I told you my daughter saw it. All right, and we showed it to her, and my wife and my daughter have a little talk to it. But I mean, the first step is if we have a group of people who want to be in the political process or dealing with the challenges that we're facing, and then making this video on their own, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see a hard problem with that. I might disagree with what the message is sending a little bit, but I don't have a hard problem with that. But now it's like, what can we do to help them get to a higher level, in my opinion?
Yeah, because if you look at it, it's going to capture whatever audience you're trying to capture. And again, if you're saying that they were the actual ones who put it together, this was their choice, this is what they're putting out, then again, it goes back to what message they're trying to send and what audience they're trying to captivate. And I agree with what King was saying, that at this time it's actually reaching those people who normally don't vote, people who not even registered. I know even when it came down to my kids, if one of my boys would have saw that video and they wasn't registered to vote, I guarantee they probably would have voted. Or not voted, but at least registered to vote. You know, which is one of the key things that we definitely want, is people to, even if they're not going to vote, at least get registered, okay? But one of the things that I have to say that we have been talking about this year and voting with all of our kids, and one of my sons actually said that he was not going to vote because he felt like that it was the worst, is the bad and the bad. You know, he said, hey, we have two racist people that we're voting, that we have to vote for. And he was like, so due to the fact that he wasn't voting. And I was trying to talk him out of it to try to tell him the importance and putting his voice in. He's like, but Mom, even if I put it out there, that's not saying that my voice is going to be heard. And he was like, and so what? I get it. Our ancestors fought for us to have this choice. But he said, again, it's a choice. And he said, and it's going to see how we're going to benefit from it. So, you know, I get it right now that even our young people are even saying, or have the same viewpoint as Bashar was sharing before, that it's like, what are we going to get out of this? And what are they doing to actually get our vote? And I'm seeing that a young youth are really thinking this through before they just throw in or just have a vote.
All right. That's intriguing. I do think that what you said, Lauren, kind of changed the direction of the conversation. And I'm wondering, is that because your generation is dealing with a different consciousness than maybe some of the previous generations? Now, Bashira, you two aren't too far from each other in age. So, but you seem to be on two different spectrums, bro. So now that you heard her measure, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's a complex conversation. You know what I mean? It's not black and white. It's a lot of layers. There are subtle, unique nuances and moving parts to the conversation at hand. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of a lot of things. One, I'm thinking of how we're socialized with respect to our life options, with respect to the information that's inundated in our communities. You mentioned consciousness. I think what really has to be put into perspective is that we're not born into a vacuum, right? We're born into socio-historical, economic, political circumstances that preceded us, that we did not have a choice coming into, you know what I mean? And then what's intriguing about the human experience is that now we have to use our creative ingenuity and intentionality to engage with social, psychodynamic, political constructs that were not of our own volitional capacity. And so there's all of that going on, right? And then you have just a confluence of messaging that comes through the mass media arm of white supremacy. You can't take out the fact that specific to our community, we're dealing with white supremacy, we're dealing with hegemony, we're dealing with institutional racism. And so when we're talking about making choices, and we have all of these things that kind of inform, you know, the nature of the choices that we can make. How free is that endeavor of choice making? When we look at our sisters here, who we are saying are making the choice to make this video, with all of those influences that would inform the apparent choice that's being made, meaning for a lot of us, our life choices in terms of economics is really dictated to us on the basis of being part and parcel, or really the victims of oppressive economics. So we don't really have many.
Okay, you went mute there for a second, good brother Bashir.
I know. My wife was buzzing in. I'm going to get her back in a second. We don't have many choices in that sense to the degree that
she was saying hurry up.
Many of the life options have been crafted, right, and have been socially engineered by our enemies. You know what I mean? So we might not even have the volitional capacity to choose in a authentic sense. You know what I mean? Because we're engaging again in ways and with respect to conditions that we did not choose. That's biologically, that's sociologically, that's politically, that's economically, all of the above. So with respect to what my sister was saying, and I'm gonna close here, where she's not willing to denigrate what we're seeing here with the Get Your Booty to the Polls campaign, because maybe these women have made the choice, according to their own volitional discretion, to produce what we've seen, right? And I think she said something that was interesting to me, where it was like they are contemporaneously resisting and participating, which I thought was interesting, because for somebody like me, my resistance to the system or the political machine is not to participate. You know what I mean? Is to critique it and to find other ways to utilize my energetic intentionality that would be more profitable for our collective economic interests. So I'm interested in hearing how you can hold the two in tandem, to participate and to resist coterminously.
Wow, you pulled out the whole dictionary on us, bro.
I'm a geek, man. I'm a nerd, but you know, whatever.
Well, I guess the last point, Brother Mark says that, you know, we cause our own division by criticizing our own. The black Christians against black Muslims, black Dems against black Republicans. And he's saying, come together for common interests, come together. Do you think it was effective? Do you think it could be effective? I know we just kind of found out about it. I have to admit, you know, I thought, yeah.
Seiko, I'm just going to say this, right, real quickly. That is a group of people that have a workplace, right? If we looked at that and we saw black union workers from you know, would we have said anything about it for them to did something and say go out and get your vote? Or if we had saw black police officers, or if we saw black so these are just black strippers that's saying, hey, go and get something, go get your vote out. Now, I mean,
if you give me
we could have black gangsters come together and say, hey, look, go get your vote out. I don't know. I mean, that's a group, that's a work group. We could pull them together too. I mean, like, you know, I mean, get the Crips, get the Bloods, get them all having get the vote out. Actually, and that's not necessarily bad, right? But that's what that was.
Hey, I'm just saying the performer named Imani did catch my attention. So if I wasn't a voter already, I might be a lot more intrigued on, you know, checking out this voting thing. Because I wouldn't suspect that people like Imani would be at the voting polls.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that being said, I'm going to let the women have the last word. And
in the video, they had a great message. Yeah, in the video, they had a great message. But one of the things that I was looking at, even from one of our brothers who chimed in here, he said that their whole purpose was to reach the black man demographic. So my thing is, why do people think to reach our kings, it takes putting us on the stage like that? And even if it's by choice, and I noticed that we have a routine of that when it comes down to black women. We feel like that, hey, we have to do so much to get our kings or our black brothers' attention. So I'm going to put this to all the black brothers that's on the platform. First of all, did it get your attention the way they was trying to? And why does your sisters have to go to that extent to get attention?
All right, well, I'll go first. You can see that I did not like any of the Instagram pictures, so I think I'm safe. I would say, though, some of the fellas that I spoke to were more intrigued about the PSA. I have to admit, the people that I run with normally vote or they don't vote with an excellent reason. So I don't think this would have changed their decision. But I really can't say that I run with a crowd. You know, I really don't spend time with men who necessarily spend a lot of time in the strip clubs. I just don't anymore. There was a time I did. I don't anymore. Sean, would it make you want to go to the poll? Would it make you want to go vote?
That didn't make me want to go to either poll. I'm just going to be saying, but my point is
on the show.
Well, she the one. She showed it to both of us, right? But I did go to the strip poll before, and I did go after. So, but again, it wasn't, as someone said, it's not designed for me, right? So, okay. I don't know.
All right, Brother Bashiri. Yeah, your wife is watching. Obviously, she's calling in and telling you what to say. Brother Bashiri, man, with this initiative, you normally don't vote. Are you more likely to vote after seeing this PSA?
I'm inclined to say no, only because I'm probably jaded with respect to the system as such, man. When I looked at it, I thought it was a joke. Like, I'm like, oh, they really playing us. They really, like my sister Phoenix is saying, like, why is it that we have to be exploited, right? Or we have to be fetishized sexually in order to be appealed to participate in the system? Now, I can't remember my sister D-Lo. I agree with her where she says it's an unfair assumption to assume that our sisters who are on the polls are not politically savvy. I agree with that. However, I think that overall, in terms of how we associate certain images with certain messages for certain demographics in our community is telling. Because I'm not sure they would speak to another ethnic group quite the same way with respect to trying to get them to participate in policies. As a matter of fact, I don't know, just in general, if other ethnic groups devote the same energy or the same intention to getting out there to the polls anyway, or in general, because I think for them, they've understood the real power is in getting a economic or industrious niche, getting your finances together for your group. Then when you come to the table to talk policy, it's not about voting. It's about giving directives about what you need to do with respect to our monies, right? And the influence that we have as such. And if you can't, or if you don't move according to our dictates on the basis of our influence per our economic prowess, well, then we're going to shake something up. Whereas with us, I don't know that we have a focus on stabilizing the integrity of our internal markets. And so we don't come to the table with power. We come panhandling and asking, you know what I mean? And we don't really make any real inroads either to participate in any meaningful or substantive sense in the system, or to overturn it. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's the broader, you know what I'm saying, implication of what I'm seeing here with this specific get the booty to the polls. Like, okay, why be focused on this fetishized kind of presentation to insult both the intellect of our people and then try to, again, capitalize off of our cultural mores?
You know what, bro? I think it's fly how you use a thesaurus and then you say, nah, I mean. You know what I mean? That's I love it, bro.
Word.
Serious,
that's
man.
what's up.
You,
I'm glad you caught that, man, too. That's what's up.
I want to hear from my sister, man, because she really... Like, what I appreciated about what she brought, Sister D-Lo, is that she brought tension. You know what I mean? And I think it's in the tension that we really develop a more precise scope and perspective of the issue, and I really want to hear some of her thoughts, man.
Yeah. So we're going to let D-Lo get the last word on this particular topic. D-Lo, I hope you have some words left to use.
Well, it's really cool hearing other perspectives, especially from people that are representing such like diverse aspects of our community at large, because at the end of the day, we're diverse. My questions, I just have questions, y'all. I come with the questions. What is not economically mobilizing about this? Right? Strippers, strip club anthem, boom, 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 here we are, right? Like, I just think, Seiko, what you brought up earlier with my generation, we're not really here for the respectability politics anymore. We're not here for the white respectability politics. We're not here for that being internalized and being honed and owned by Black people. We're not here for it anymore. So I just think that there's this assumption going on that this is something that was extra for them to do. That this wasn't who they are as a people, as who they are. That as we are as human beings at our most basic primal form is sexual beings. If you take all this socialness out, if you take all of these politics out, you were born as a result from a man and a woman coming together. And that's on period. So I think that we as a community have to stop looking at, there's only one way to get people to vote. This isn't the right way. This is, I don't want my daughter to see that. I don't want somebody to aspire to grow up to think that that's okay. I don't want XYZ, because that's a lot of the conversations that I'm hearing going on, even like within my own family, within my own peers and scholars that I'm with. And I'm just sitting here like, but are we not replicating the same type of divisive thinking of that somebody doesn't have the right to show their body and to have a message with that? Unless a man is telling them to do that, unless a white person is telling them to do that. That's my question. So what about this was exploiting themselves? Like, it's not normalized to be sexual anymore. So when we normalize sexuality, we don't have to look at this as exploitation anymore. I'm like, that's where my thinking is at. That is where my thinking is going to. When you normalize sexuality, when you take out this rape culture and this gender bias that women shouldn't have to do such and such, who said that they have to do such and such? If they want to do this, cool. So when we normalize sexuality, we don't have to look at things as exploitation or fetishizing it. This is how things were way, way, way back when. Clothing, I say this all the time and people laugh at me. Clothing is a social construction. Clothing is a social construction. Having to go outside and be fully clothed and covered up, that is something that we have developed socially over time. And it shocks us and scares us to see people naked, especially a Black woman who we have told via centuries what to do with her body, when to cover it up, and when to take the clothes off. So I am here. If they want to shake their booties to get the booties and the people to the poll, shake the booties, wop, wop, wop. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, it's several questions.
All right.
Several questions you put out there that I would like to answer on. First of all, because I do have a daughter. Second of all, I made sure she was the first person to see this video. Third, my daughter's gift is dancing. God gave her that gift from birth. So I support any type of dancing. And to actually really say how I really support my Black sisters in dancing is I actually had a business that I owned and started that actually took Black women and all sorts of women, because it was a business, where I had an escorting business. So I'm the first one. If it's by choice, I will support anything, especially I feel like that everything God has given any woman a special gift. Some women has the gift in dance. I'm not taking that away from any of my queens. Whatever you choose to do with your body, as long as it's by choice, I'm the first one to support you and help you pull out that gift that you have inside. But what I was asking, or what I'm looking at, is where it comes in comparison, and where it's like, okay, they take that image of a Black woman with the big booty, this size breast, and now they put that as that's what beauty is. So now if you get a Black sister or you get an African American sister, they don't have that. You know, now she's having some insecurities because we've now put in front of her that this is what beauty is. So this is where I come to the defense of my queens, because sometimes our kings and our brothers do make us feel that way, that, hey, this is what beauty looks like. This is what gets our attention. And if you're not that type of woman that does that, now you're making that woman who's not that way feel like that she has to be that way just to get the attention or just to get a man. So that's what I'm speaking of. Not the ones who's doing it by choice, but the ones that now starts to feel insecure because they're not that way. Now they feel like they have to go that way just to draw the attention of their king or the brothers. So that's what I be speaking on, because I've seen it from both sides, and I respect it from both sides, and I support it from both sides.
Interesting. It looks like we can go all night on this topic, because DeLauren and Bashiri, and now we got Queen Phoenix started. The second part of our conversation tonight is dealing with voting as well. You know, we're dealing with, it's bigger than Biden or Trump. You know, we have more choices than just Biden or Trump. And a lot of us are just kind of looking at it like, I'm either voting for Biden or I'm voting for Trump. Or, you know, some of this is saying I'm voting for Kamala Harris or Trump. Did you know about Joe Jorgensen, who is the candidate of choice for the Libertarians? And I know that those of us who were on the platform, you know, last week, we learned about the independent candidate, Jade Simmons. So What are your thoughts? Queen Phoenix, I know you had a chance to look at some of Jade's stuff. You were the last one talking. We'll let you start off. What are your thoughts? Are we wasting our vote if we vote for either Joe Jorgensen or Jade Simmons? Are we leaving a message? What are your thoughts?
Okay, my thoughts in all of this, and it goes back to one of the statements. I'm going to go back up to Mark White when he said, can we come together? And so when it was first brought to my attention in regards to us having an African-American female running for president, and she's been campaigning ever since the beginning of the year, my first question in my head, with all these African-American platforms and all these things that we're doing, how come none of us had it on our platform? That is one way that we can come together. We always talk about economics. Yes, economics will get you to be able to sit down at the table, but me and the king believes that I don't want to have a seat at the table. I want to build my own table, therefore I'm guaranteed a seat. And I'm looking at it the way that we do this, even if most of the time we feel like we have to do a choice, either, Trump or Biden. But I'm like this, the more votes that we can even get over to Jade, it will give her credibility. And once we start getting that credibility, now we can have what we're building our table. We can have that one-on-one conversation about the things that we want to start pushing, which is now getting things on an even playing field. Because you can't talk about helping everybody when you still have a group of people that is below the average level. So it's like, hey, we're already below the line. And now you saying, I want to help everybody, even if you help everybody. And to give you a prime example of that, if you look at me and Seiko, and I have $10,000 and Seiko has 20, and then you come in and you give both of us $50,000, Seiko is still ahead of me, and I'm still below that line. So what the first thing we need to talk about is getting an even platform. And the only way we're going to do that is by coming together as a people. We have to realize how strong we are as a community. We have to go back to how strong our ancestors were. They were powerful. Think about when they boycotted the bus system. When you start messing with people's pockets, that's when you get hurt. When you start saying, hey, I'm not going to sit up here and give my wealth or my resources to all other communities. I'm going to make sure that my community have it first. Think about it, guys, because I'm saying if you understand your history, we have 35,000 millionaires, African-American millionaires. African-Americans by themselves spend over billions of dollars a year, and less than 1% of African-American businesses are getting that revenue. That says a lot, guys. That says that we have the money. The question is, what are we doing with it? And if we start supporting our people, just a little, it gives them that credibility.
Okay. Well, Brother Bashiri, what are your thoughts, man? Did you know about the libertarian Joe Jorgensen? Hopefully you know about Jade Simmons. What are your thoughts, man? Are these people that we can credibly place our resources with in terms of our votes? What should we be doing about them? Are we wasting our votes if we go with them? Tell me what your thoughts are in regards to Joe Jorgensen and Jade Simmons.
Okay. Real quick, I just got to close up the last topic. When I was thinking about the strip culture, and I was thinking about it in a broader framework of entertainment, and often in our community we get into these kind of escapist modalities. Entertainment is one, drug use is one. Sometimes we get hyper focused on career, and it helps us to kind of get out of the space of confrontation to remedy what's really the issue in our communities, right? If I can sing the song, and we did it like even in the plantation, when you think of the spirituals or even religion, that might be controversial for some people, but you could even think of those modalities of human ingenuity, in a sense, to get through a difficult time allows you to kind of shoulder pain or suffering, in a way that you can get through it, so you escape it. Right? Are you saying that my sister was talking about? Hold on. When my sister was talking about choices and things of that sort, it's interesting if you think of a lot of the escapist modalities and you correlate it with drug use. You feel the freest when you're under the most heaviest influence of the drug. So you think you're making a free choice. You think you're utilizing your will, but that's when actually the whammy is really working. It's at its highest functioning capacity. You know what I'm saying? So you're not really making deliberate choices, so to speak. You're just under the influence of whatever escape mechanism that you're employing, right? So that's that on that.
Okay,
I'm going to leave that alone. But in terms of voting and independent candidates, I don't know. I think our resources, our energies could be otherwise engaged, and it would be to our benefit to focus our intentions and our energies. For me, I'm a broken record. It's the economics. It's the money. It's the aggregating of our resources. You know what I mean? It's creating those niche industries. Okay, so let's go back to what my sister Dila was saying. Like, she asked the question, like, how is the stripping culture not a viable inroad to a niche industry? Of course it can be. What I'm saying is, more often than not, we're the talent, but we don't get to manage. We don't get to own. We don't get to organize.
Bashir,
you know what I mean?
Bashir.
Yeah.
Bashir.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll go off. I'm sorry. My bad, Seiko. I'm sorry, man. A lot hit my mind.
Hey, man, I love it. Sister D-Lo. Yeah, because Mark said he's way off. You've been thinking about the strippers, and now you off in this.
No. What I see is crazy. I don't mind.
No, it's all good.
I just see how things are connected and how they inform each other. But anyway, Sister D-Lo, I'm sorry, man.
Oh. All right, D-Lo, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And don't talk about strippers.
Okay. So me and American democracy don't get along. So my thoughts, the question is, would it be a wasted vote if we voted for one of these two candidates? I don't think any vote is a wasted vote, because a vote is a vote. I just don't think the voting system is fair. I think that we would be better off mobilizing and putting somebody forward. Somebody that is transformative, somebody that has more of a radical agenda to really deconstruct what we have. I think we always wait for somebody to pop up to vote for, instead of saying, hey, we think this person can do it, and put them forward to represent us or push them up. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I think about the whole voting. And then I also think when people do come forward with transformative ideas, we're really quick to slap them down as well, when it doesn't fit into what we're comfortable with, which is a result of the system and how we've been socialized. So I don't think any vote is a wasted vote. I also don't think that, and I get a lot of resistance on this, I don't think that not voting is a waste of a vote. I think that's a form of resistance that a lot of people, especially younger people, use. And I think not voting, people say, if you don't say something, that is saying something, right? So when you see those numbers of the people that are eligible to vote, that have the economic background to go to the polls, and they have that access, and they don't do something with that vote, I also think that that's saying something. I think it's showing us that we're not willing to participate and just turn the other cheek with this governmental system anymore, especially Gen Z and whatever the name of the generation is post-COVID coming up. They're not down for that. So I don't think any vote is a wasted vote. I also don't think that not voting is a waste of a vote. And yeah, I just think we need to get to the point where we're putting somebody forward instead of waiting on somebody. Because I think people are really happy I think people were upset with the options, and then Kamala Harris was on the ticket, and everybody just said, yay, Black woman, right? And I'm just like, and I'm no shade to her, but what about this ticket is revolutionary? What about this ticket doesn't reflect all the other people that we've had in office before? What about this ticket isn't exploitation or fetishizing and picking a Black woman and putting her in a place just to move your pedestal up, Joe Biden, right? What about this ticket is something that we haven't seen before? So let's stop waiting on who the Democratic Party has, or why isn't there the Black voting party? Why hasn't that been created yet? You know? So
it has.
Okay, well, we need to get some more momentum behind it, because I'm tired of these stale options.
That's what I'm saying. We need to get more word out about it. If it's created, then how come our community don't know about it? Well, we got to get some voice out there.
I think our community is so divided. I really think our community is divided, and it's really hard for us to come together. I think we're really focused on coming together as one big group, but there's so many different views within the Black community that it would be stronger if we had those subgroups come together. Like, okay, if you're a Black conservative, come together. If you're a Black liberal, come together. And then we can bring that together. I think we really just try to bring everybody together and assume that they'll have the same interests as long as they're Black, which is not true. I just think that things have gotten so far that it's hard for us to even conceptualize how to mobilize that. And then harder to do it because we haven't been socialized to do that. So it's really about getting, to those grassroots people, the people that are really out here working the 9 to 5 and don't really have time to digest what's on the news 24/7, and sit there and have intellectual conversations about it. Like, I don't blame people anymore for not being, I don't want to say that people shouldn't be informed, but I don't blame people for not being at a level of informed that we always want people to be at. Because at the end of the day, after seeing COVID and everything, I've just realized how hard it is for people to survive on the daily.
Perfect. Hey, I want to take this time and thank Jermel Mathis for his attention to our great conversation. Thank you, Jermel. Antoine says, yes, subgroups. And he also says, thank you, Sister D-Lo. I want to take this moment before I let King Phoenix tap in with his position. Tap in. To bring about my conversation about the empowerment agenda. And so I've been talking about this recently, and the empowerment agenda is an approach for deeper empowerment and improvement for us. And I focus on 3 areas, those of us who cannot vote. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of us don't even talk about those who cannot vote. So right now you're hearing a lot of people say, vote. But if you can't vote, then you're left out of the conversation. And I think we do a disservice to ourselves because we have a number. It may not be a significant number, or it might be a significant number who cannot vote, but we're doing a disservice when we don't include them in our conversations. Then we have a subgroup who will not vote. Bashiri's part of that. And then those of us who will vote. And so I want to salute C to God when he did something very, not really revolutionary. We've been waiting for C to God to wake up for years, but he did nicely. When he had, Brother Joe Biden on, and he asked him for tangibles. We've been saying no tangibles, no vote. Sister Regina, thank you for saying that. No tangibles, no vote. You have to do something tangible. You have to earn our vote. And Joe flipped. He was like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. All right. So when it comes down to those who cannot vote, these are the strategies I implore you to get involved in. The last one I think is super important. Research and report candidates and seated politicians. Do the research, because some of us are unable or unwilling or whatever, so we don't have the research. We didn't know about Jade Simmons. Some of us didn't know about Joe Jorgensen. But more importantly, we didn't know about Jade Simmons. So we need those of us who cannot vote, do these strategies I have on the screen. And, those who will not vote, you might consider getting registered to vote anyway, because if you're registered and you're absent, it makes a bigger message. Sister Dilo was talking about, when you don't say something, it says something. And it says a lot more when you're registered to vote and you don't vote. Or you might consider writing in reparations instead of choosing a candidate. That's something that you can do. And if you're one of the people who are party voters, reach out to your Dem or your Independent, your Green Party, your Libertarian, Republican, your Red, Black, and Green Party. Making sure they're aware of your agenda-based concerns. If they don't respond, I think that says enough. Should you rock with somebody who's not rocking with you? And then those of people like me, I reach out to all the candidates. I tell them what my demands are. And I make it clear that if you want my support, my resources, you have to support my agenda in part or in whole. And, I had a conversation with somebody today who's on the Dem ticket. He's not on the ticket. He's actually one of their supporters. And when I shared with him what the 3 concerns are that I'm voting on, he tried to switch and talk to me about healthcare. I said, no, bro, that wasn't my concern. That wasn't one of my concerns. And it's unfortunate that under President Barack Obama, our concerns were ignored. Our big 3 concerns were ignored. Under President Trump, they've been ignored. And now the candidates who want our vote are still ignoring our concerns. So, Brother King Phoenix is bigger than Biden or Trump. What are your thoughts when you find out about a libertarian Joe Jorgensen or independent Jade Simmons?
Well, Seiko, first thing, you have to understand the political realms and what they're doing. It's very important for every political person that come in that they're getting a vote. A vote do count for something, right? If you're not voting, and let me put it this way, of the protest vote of not voting, which is fine. I mean, I do understand that, but you're not putting any validity on any particular person. If you feel no one's speaking to you, I do understand that, and I get your point. Like, it's better to register because you're showing that there's absences of voting, and that's saying something to the politics involved, right? Now, here's the thing. In my opinion, I don't mind being out there. First thing this is the thing with a protest vote or something. And I remember it's something you said, writing reparations or something like that. Now, my thing would be, if you like this one of these candidates that's not going to win, you're better to vote for that person than writing in something like that that's not a particular person, because every time someone gets a vote, it brings validity to their platform. Now, and that is a key of movement. If you write in a name that doesn't have any not any structure to it, you're not bringing any more validity to that group, because no one is going to say, "Oh, reparations got 14 votes this year." It's not going to happen or whatever. You know what I mean? But a person that is going to get that recognition of how many votes, that's going to create momentum. And the Libertarian Party is a key of that, because now they're all across America with their candidate, right? Regardless of each time they pull in more money every single year, right? And just as Brother Brasheri was talking about, this particular industry where we're at is about money. You have to have a political machine that creates a economic strength. And now I'm not saying to vote for Jada Simmons or any of that. I don't know. I was trying to find out a little bit more details on the things that she likes and don't like, but I couldn't find too much of that. So the point is, though, if you find a candidate that you like, it's better to put something on the vote on that, because it's going to move the needle a little bit to where you want to go. So I mean, it's great to have independence. I was an independent party person when I was my sister age, right? When I was her age and felt that part. I mean, I was that person. Actually, I was going to run. I all that stuff. I get that, and that's great because revolutions always start with the young. Catch this, revolutions always start with the young. So revolutions have to happen with that. You have to be radical. You have to get out there, you move it, because the further you get in age, you bring more wisdom. And we are supposed to bring wealth and thought patterns to that, so they could get out there and do something. But here's the thing: we have not organized anything to really have someone to be truly backed, in my opinion, at least in this area. And we need to do that. We need to have something. And by the way, running for president is just something to create a little attention. But here locally, how about your local state government? Who's your sheriff? Who your freaking who's commanding when you put the dang on garbage out each week? You know what? Those laws affect you each time. And as Queen Phoenix said last week, that and what you said, Psycho, so many of our brothers, and especially brothers, but our sisters too, get caught up in the legal system and lose their right to vote. Guess what? That's key also, right? But all these things is for this particular election, you do have some leverage. Because here's the thing, some of the things that is important to you, like police brutality, some other groups believe that too. And if you and who you vote for or not, or whatever, right? Either, like, if you get a stick up your head and beat, and let me change that. If white supremacy is just running and lynching people and for 3 to something years, because they're doing that now, right? I mean, what happened in Charlottesville? Can that happen even greater? Yes, it can. Can police reform be changed or not changed because of who you pick? Because of who is paying the money to the candidate? Because those things are on the table to change, and some of our states have already changed it, right? So the thing is, are we going to put people in power to make some of those things that will win for us? Right now, let me be honest, we don't have enough power to make anything move by itself yet. That's where we have to make decisions. Just be honest, we don't have it. So we have to understand that, hey, if we're going to make a stand for something, we have a stand for a group of people that are running in the same motion. There's white people right now that getting shot with rubber bullets, getting hit with police officers. Do you understand that? And they don't want that don't want that to happen no more. The wrong person in the presidency, that would go away. And they're going to police state going to come to another level. But this is a decision, right? You could protest it. And say, hey, well, he does, he's a racist too. I get it. But one racist will continue to move, and let's be true, one racist will continue to move in directions that we want certain things to happen, and one racist won't. And actually turn it to another level because he knows who he going to vote for. He want the poll white boys or whatever their name is, and he want them vote. He know that he can't get our vote. Okay? So here's the thing. Right, so we have to understand that and just be clear of that, right? And with that, organizing together. All right, I mean, I didn't use a lot of dictionary words, but I'm just saying, right? We need. I'm passionate about that. We need to go there, and then we need to organize and create that Black Pack. I'm going, and brother, we know we're gonna work on that. Next 4 years, it's gonna change. We're gonna be doing something. It could be whatever, because it's gonna happen. Because we have too much money. And there's too much people who have common sense. And see, that's the same thing. Like the sister said, hey, we could get, I love it. Yeah, get the dancing on the pole. Hey, I could tell you, you know what? Get better reparations for your dancing. If you come with me, I can help you vote, right? Hell yeah. Guess what? They would do something. You understand me? You feel me? Right? Because they have problems too. I'm going to leave it right there.
Well, I simply want to say I appreciate your measure, good brother King Phoenix, but I think we underestimate our power. And our elders do it. I can't say that, I love you, so I'm gonna let you go. And that's the reason why Bashiri can take his stance, and that's why D-Lo has beautifully, eloquently stated her positions and said, y'all on some other stuff that we left behind, because we have the power to make things change. And if you look at what's happened within the last what month is this? This is October. So in the last 6 months, there's been more substantial change politically than in the last 37 years. And that wasn't because we didn't have power. We had enough power that our white brothers and sisters are out there getting hit by rubber bullets as well. And they were there before in the 60s, but they weren't there in the same numbers.
It's because it was home from COVID. Let me
do this. Whatever the reason. Whatever the reason, we are more empowered than we believe. And I want to let Bashiri and D-Lo had the last words on this one. I'm going to let them have the last words on this one because we want to bring this to a close. After having this conversation, what is the thing that you're going to share with other people? We'll start with Brother Bashiri and we'll end with new platformer. I'm happy about this, y'all. D-Lo. So Brother Bashiri, and we do have a couple of questions. Do Black Lives, okay. We have segregated power. All right, that's cool. Brother Bashiri went dark, so I don't know if he's getting himself in a bet. Okay. Yeah, all right. That didn't come out right. That didn't come out right when I said you went dark, bro. I'm sorry. You went
so good, man.
You went melanated.
Right. I went melanated. Yeah.
Hey, go ahead, Bashiri, right. Man. Your last measure, man. After this conversation, what are you going to share with people?
I'm just going to share that we have more power than we think we have. We just got to aggregate our internal and immaterial ingenuity and spiritual capital oriented towards a collective interest towards economic liberation. And whether we vote or not vote is really irrelevant because a lot of times, particularly for this election, I know how important local politics is. I don't want to sound like I'm just completely askew when it comes to the relevance of local politics. I get that. I'm just saying with the presidential election, and a lot of it is just distraction. You know what I mean? I think if we just stay focused, I think if we maintain our hermeneutic of suspicion, like my sister D-Lo was saying, don't trust all these things. Respectability politics, whatever stripe. Nah, we got to move beyond that because it's about doing what's right and appropriate for our collective interests and the health and the wholeness of our communities, our families, etc. So I think I'm going to tell people to remain inquisitive and to remain suspicious and to pull at the thread and to read widely and just don't believe somebody who's in authority is giving you the full scope of how whatever information they're disclosing impacts you. And it's a matter of survival. I'll say this and I'll be quiet. Racism, it's important to strip it from its emotional preoccupations. I said it last week and I'll say it again. Because then we can, from a point of logic, be critically reflective and strategize how to neutralize it. You see what I mean? So it's not just about which racist is doing the least racist things. You know what I mean? It's okay. We understand that racism is employed as an economic enterprise to procure vital life resources over and against the capacity or the capability or the cultivation of the possibility of a target population to compete, right? Over against or within the framework or paradigm of scarcity. When we understand that and we stop reacting emotionally towards the vitriol or towards the policies, then we can think. And then from a thinking position, we can out-strategize and out-plan our enemies. And it's important for us to realize we have enemies. You know, just because people are singing our songs or marching or saying our lives matter, that don't necessarily mean that they are part and parcel of what we need to do for ourselves. My thing is this. We need to develop self-autonomy. We need to develop self-definition, right? And we need to develop self-reliance as a group. Now, I know we're not monolithic as a group here, but for the things that concern us, I'm wrapping it up. We don't get attacked because we fall within the purview of certain fault lines or fracturings that cause us to be divided. You know why we get attacked? You know what I mean? Because if we were ever unified, nobody could be able to contend with us. So it's like, if we could set aside whatever divides us, for whatever reason, and we can divorce ourselves emotionally and use some logic, man. Ashe.
Sister D-Lo, and Bashiri, he talks like he's at work all the time. While we're in our workspaces, we may use a more framework vocabulary and nuanced approach to speaking. But when we're chilling, but Bashiri talks like he's at work all the time, and I love it, brother. Sister D-Lo, what's the last word, girl?
Are we wrapping up completely?
For this conversation, yes.
Yes. Okay. I would say if I ended on anything, it would be focused on life. Literally being focusing on eating more healthily, focusing on seeing mental health professionals to help you process and unlearning the things that we have been told are weakening to us or make us look bad to other people. I think that if we could just focus on taking care of ourselves and doing some unlearning for ourselves, that we could be on a much better pathway. I think it's really hard for us to even mobilize large scale when we haven't been able to large scale mobilize on the most basic things, like building our own schools across the nation, like having our own food programs to make sure that people receive 3 meals a day across the nation, like building Black neighborhoods and building up a Black Wall Street of some sorts. Like, we have to really just focus on the small things of just living, I feel. And everything else is c'est la vie. Like, I'm not worried about white people and what they're doing and convincing them that racism exists. I'm worried about making myself my best so I can influence generations after me to do the same. Because I think we spend a lot of time focusing on them. If we just did X, Y, Z, what if we really just focused on living life in its simplest form and just being happy?
Interesting. So that was the Mamba Titi, also known as D-Lo, DeLauren. Hey, we really appreciate having you on the platform tonight. Salute to you on that. Man, I hope you had a great time. I hope you come back. I really hope
y'all are lit. I'll be back for more.
All right, and Queen and King Phoenix. Any talk about your podcast as we close up for today? Anything you're working on? You guys want to say anything?
Yeah, just want to tell people listen to the Flame Up, because it is time for us to flame up, and that's just encouraging everyone to find that inner spark. It's kind of like what D-Lo said earlier. It's about your choice. It's about bringing the best you forward, and my podcast is all about inspiring, uplifting, and pulling the best you out. What Flaming Up is all about is actually finding that fire, that deep down desire that you had inside, that burning desire, and really now bringing it out. So I want to let people know your past does not have to be who you are. Your past is something that you need to release. Your present right now is the present that you have right now, that if you make a choice, whatever you do right now can transform your future. So that's what our podcast is all about, is to really show people how to get their voice back if it was taken from them. And if you have a voice, to know how to use it, because I definitely believe our people are more stronger than what they think. So tune into our podcast, and what I say is flame up, with clean feet and blaze a trail path for others to follow us.
All right, and back again on the platform is good brother Bashiri. You just launched your podcast, so do you want to say a few words about your podcast, good brother?
Yeah, it's going to be conversation again, critical reflection on matters that are important to the melanated community, and that's it. You know what I mean? Let's get the bag, let's get the money, let's do it with love, peace, and confrontation, and that's it. I'm not even going to be long-winded. I love you guys.
And we love you back. Also, we want to say thank you again to Brother Mathis. He said great conversations. Okay, good stuff. Antoine said, just like we show up to a job interview with a resume, we need to show up to a politician who's being interviewed by us with our own written out agenda statements to them. I shade to that. As a matter of fact, I just did that with the Hampton Roads Black Caucus. We interviewed we interviewed the candidates for school board, city council, and for the mayoral races in Virginia Beach, Suffolk, and Portsmouth, Virginia. And we just actually we're in the process of endorsing them as well. I did the same thing with the Virginia Beach AA PAC, and we sat down with all the candidates aforementioned, and we'll be passing out our endorsements for them very soon. So yeah, it's important that you get involved. It's bigger than just voting. It's bigger than just voting. It's bigger than just voting. We want to thank you again for checking out the Fly Guy Show. Get on code, the Fly Guy Show. I'm your friend in financial freedom, Seiko Varner.
Stay fly, 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 stay fly.
The views expressed by the guests are only the views of the guests, unless we say we agree. Unless explicitly stated.
Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.